Okay, so we are recording. Hello, JD and Aiden and Tyler and Sarita and Colin and Matt and Hanson. Welcome to the regulars. Okay, you guys actually get a bit easier unless some people are watching the recording. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share a screen here. We'll start with what we're doing overall, the big picture. Okay, we will have, we're meeting obviously right now on Zoom. We'll have our next Zoom on Thursday, and I'll get to that in just a second. So I'm going to open this here up and just kind of review where we're at and what we're doing and all that good stuff. There's a recording from yesterday, and of course, there's your invite today. So what's going on here? Um, oh, I know. I was going to talk about the Excel notes. I'm going to click this here, and you can go ahead and click it or just look at your screen and see what I put. This is not an assignment. Well, it's not officially an assignment. In reality, you should look these notes over and you should watch this video here about formulas and functions. Okay? It'll help you understand much better. Okay, the Excel notes. What is Excel? Excel is for making documents that are called spreadsheets, and Excel also calls them worksheets. So if you ever hear me say spreadsheets or worksheets, I mean the same thing. They have rows and columns in them that you put. Whoop, JV baseball dismiss. Okay. So there's rows and columns, you guys know. The rows are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the columns are like A, B, C, D, E. And the intersection of a row and a column is a cell. Okay. So you can type in text, you can type in formulas, you can type in numbers. And it's used especially for documents that are going to have numbers and have some type of formulas on them, like to add things or divide things or multiply or whatever. Some people will open Excel just to type in, like, say, a list of people's names and phone numbers, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't always have to have a formula or a function to use Excel. You could just use it for making lists of things, but a lot of the use is involving formulas and functions. So spreadsheets and worksheets are used for accounting, a lot of business type documents, calculating, charting, and budgets. Okay. Three types of data can go into there. Now, these are kind of fancy names, but what they basically stand for is a label. That'd be just text. Text could be a person's name. It could be what the column of numbers is. Is it hourly pay? Is it sales tax? Is it, you know, grade point average? What is the data we're looking at? So you type in some text to explain it. Values are the numbers that you put in there, and formulas are equations that allow you to calculate. They involve a cell reference, so you might have like B3 plus B4 equals you put in B5. Okay, so you have formulas. There are two types of formulas. There's regular formulas, like just adding and subtracting or multiply or divide, and there's something called functional formulas, which when you want to do like a average, count, maximum, minimum. If we're going to be doing some of these in our next packet. The operators, you might remember the word operator from mathematics class. That'd be like the plus and the minus and that. Well, in Excel, plus is plus, so it's the same. Minus is minus for subtraction. Multiplication is an asterisk. Okay, so you have to go, it's above the letter 8 on your keyboard. You have to put in an asterisk when you're going to multiply. And division is a backslash. Okay, so you're going to divide A1 by 5 or A1 by B1 or whatever it may be. You use the backslash. Always remember, use parentheses when using two or more mathematical functions. We also use parentheses for changing the order of operations. So, like this one here, for example, if you look at B5 plus C5 times D5, if there was no parentheses there, it would literally do the C5 times D5 first, then it would add B5 to it, and that would give us a different answer. If you put the B5 plus C5 in parentheses, it's going to do that first, and then it's going to multiply whatever that is by D5. So it depends on what you want and why you're setting it up. Workbook. I didn't really talk about this yet much, but when we make a new Excel document, it is a workbook, not a worksheet, not a spreadsheet. It's a workbook. All those little tabs that we make, those are worksheets, also known as spreadsheets. Okay, so the whole document's a workbook, and the one individual sheet is a worksheet. The cell address would be the location of a cell, like B3, C7, stuff like that. The active cell is the one that's currently in use. I'll talk about the rest of this here, or not tomorrow, probably next week. That'd be the functions and the charting. So we'll talk about that next week. Okay, so that's a big thing. You did, and then generation like we're going to talk about Thursday. If you do it before Thursday, great. And when I talk about it, you'll be all, that's just a video. It's about social media, young people, little assignment to go with it. It's not hard. It's easy. I think you'll find it interesting. Now we're back to what we're doing today. Now, at the moment, the only way you get the data for these is from my tutorials, either watching them live or watching the video. I do plan to put up a printout so people can get the data from the printout too, but that's not up there yet. Hopefully, it'll be up there sometime today. But we're going to continue on. So I'm going to close out of this one right here. Okay. Whoops. And I'm going to share. Okay. So you should have, right now, you should be seeing my Excel. So yesterday, what did we do? The first one we did was miles per gallon. These are columns, A, B, C, D. These are rows, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down here in the bottom right, you have a plus and minus. You can change the view. Okay. And I up my view quite a bit. So this is a lot bigger and you can see it better. We put in information like mileage and summary, vehicles, and look how I typed that. This one I put in that row and this one, and then these go underneath it. Okay. So yesterday we had these vehicles here, these 4 vehicles. This is how many miles that they drove. And this is how many gallons of gas they used. And this is their miles per gallon. If you click on one of these here, the miles per gallon is B7 divided by C7. So you can take this one right here, 486, divide by 20.2025 gallons used, and we got 24 miles to the gallon. So this here is about calculating that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it on that one. Earnings. These are employees. They work at a business. They got their names, how many hours they worked, how much we gave everyone the same pay rate, and then we did a gross earnings. We have a formula over here. B5 times 885. Okay, so it took whatever the hours they worked and multiplied it by this here. I know what I did wrong. We may come back to this one, but I'll wait till later. Let's go to today's. The first one we're doing today, I don't have it all typed in just yet. I was working on that. I'm going to make it slightly bigger so I can see it better. But this here is about grade point averages. This would be sheet number 3. So you click on a sheet down here. If you don't have a sheet number 3, you hit the little plus sign and you'll see a sheet 3. It doesn't really matter if it's a sheet 3 or sheet 4 or whatever. You just click on it and type on GPA. So we have one called MPG, one called earnings, one called GPA. These are the sheets. The whole thing is the workbook. Now, this year we got grade point averages, we got student names, we got hours earned, quality points, and their GPA. First, we're going to highlight this little group of cells here and center it. If you're in the online version, it's up here. If you're in the full version, it still should be up here somewhere in the middle. Oh, also while we're there, I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to try same thing with the grade point averages up here and click that and make that bold. Okay, now I already typed in these people's names. The one that said Geg Spiati, I'm sure it's a typo. I made Greg Spiati. Okay, and I'm going to click here next to the hours earned. I'm just kind of going to go through these quickly. We get 20, 30, 120, 45, 132, 32, 90, and 20. The quality points is going to be 80, 110, 400, 150, 420, 74, 350, and 30. Now we have to calculate GPA. So I'm going to first highlight these here and center them. You might notice that I resize these sometime up here. Try to make it look nice. Okay, now how do we calculate GPA? We're going to take the quality points, and we're not going to put number 80 here. I'm going to put C7. So if you're in the same rows and columns as I am, that would be C7, this one right here. If you're in a different row or column, you can adjust it to wherever that is. That's how much it was. That's the points you got for the class, say. And then hours earned. It has to do with the way they do GPA at the college level. So we got C7. Oh, I almost forgot. I got to put an equal sign. C7 divide by, which is a backslash. And then I put B7. Okay, so I'm going to take your quality points, divide by how many hours you earned. And I'm going to hit return. Okay, so that person here has a 4-point GPA. Now I'm going to click here. Now watch this trick here. You're going to love it. Rather than do that manually for each of these, take the one here and have it divide by this. Click here, GPA. Drag this little handle down. And it automatically brought down the formula. Okay, a formula was made there. So it's got everybody's GPA. Now we're not quite done yet. When we have this selected, or reselected if you deselected it, go up here to where it says general, go to currency, and I didn't want to know why I did currency, duh. Go to number. We want the 2-slot decimal, but we don't want dollar signs. This is a GPA. Now I'm going to go ahead and center this because I think that will look better. Now we have all these people's grade point average. So on the high end, we got Bula Conti, and they got a 4.0. On the low end, we've got Phyllis Tate. This is probably should be Phyllis. Little typo there. And she's got 1.5, so it's not that great. So this is a grade point average. I think everyone knows if you're like a 4-point, that's an A. If you're like 3-point to like at least 3.5, you're in the B range, and so on. You know, C range would be like the 70s and so forth. So we got a GPA here, quality points, earned hours. I think, yeah. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so for the last one we're going to do, we're going to do net worth. So I'm going to make this here a little bit bigger. Net worth schedule. So I'm going to start with assets. Now, we didn't put anything there, but we are going to put here, we're going to put year one. Then we'll put year two. Year three. And year four. Now we got assets here. We got liabilities. And ultimately net worth. So what this is, it's a net worth schedule. I assume it's for a business or a person. The assets. I'm going to type these first without commas and without dollar signs. We got 92, 389.16. I'm going to hit return. Then we got 84, 715.78. Then we have 7673. Whoops. I got this kind of funky keyboard here I'm using. 7673.38. And then we got 89,716.53. We got 82,895.78. And then for net worth, we've got 6820.38. Got a couple more to put in here. Oh, just a minute here. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I should not be doing this here right now. Sorry about that. I'm trying to think. Just a minute. I got the answers on here. Okay, 91312.75. We're almost done here with this. 86, 516. And it's 0.3. Trying to look at this in the dark. And then last here, 93576.2. 88212.15. Okay, we're going to make sure these are spread out enough so they're not bumping into each other. Okay, first thing we're going to do here is highlight all of our titles here and make it bold. I think it didn't like this was like overflowing, so I'm going to just highlight this here. Yeah, no, it's still not letting me do that, so I'll do these here. Okay, we're going to highlight all this here. This is going to be currency. Make sure this is wide enough for all of it. Okay, so we got everything in currency. I got to center these here. I know I was clicking on the wrong one. Okay, that's much, much better. Now, what's going on here? We have this person or business. They have 4 years. Assets is what they own. It's their cash in the bank. It's their house. It's their car, whatever's worth money. Liabilities is what they owe. It could be their mortgage on their house. It could be what they owe on their car or anything else that they owe. So what is net worth? Net worth is a very simple formula. We're going to put an equal sign. I'm going to try and do this in the dark. Okay, all formulas have an equal sign. So we're going to start with, in my case, if you did it in the same rows and columns that I did, my first one here, 92,000, I click that and it puts B4. That's fine. Matter of fact, that's what I want. Now I'm going to do a minus and I'm going to click on liabilities. How much do I owe? There's a B5. So the formula is very simple. We're just taking assets, what we have in our bank and our investments, and we're minusing what we owe. So it'd be equal sign B4 minus B5. Now you can literally type this without clicking on this. You could just type equal sign B4 minus B5. Then we hit return. Now what it does is it shows the answer here. If you click on it and you look up here, you'll see the actual formula was put in. Now a shortcut. Instead of doing that manually for the next 3, just click on this handle and drag it out, and it'll do the same formula adjusted for each one. Okay. Now I'm in the online version of Excel. So there's no save really to hit here. I can make a copy, which I often do. I can also share it. What happens when I share it? Share with people. I'm not going to do that. Embed. Okay. I'm not actually submitting it, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I accidentally closed it, so I open it back up again, or I tried to open it back up again. Excuse me here. There it is. So what do we got here? We got 4. This is our workbook. I name mine, excuse me, I'm getting hiccups. I name mine book 2, CompLit, 4th block. You don't need a fancy name like that. Book 2 is fine. Now, if I want to submit it, I can click up here, share. But before I do that, I'm going to click on all these. There's the mile per gallon. Make it look good. The formula is real simple. B7 times C7. Earnings. Now, this is the one we originally had different pay rates here. I screwed up. I put the dollar amount. I should not have done that in the formula. Okay. So that's right here. I'm going to change this here to this cell right here, which for me would be C5. So here's how to edit a formula if you screw it up. You click on where the formula is calculating. You go up here. I'm going to put C5. And I hit return. Might say that's the same, Mr. Rio. Well, I'm going to purposely now change these pay rates. There's 925. And look at it, recalculate it. I'm going to go here and do 935. Whoops. I left the old one in there. Okay. I screwed that up yesterday. I was busy and in between things, and I didn't do this right. So it might say, Mr. Rio, what are we supposed to do? make the same fixes. Okay. Make the same fixes. So this formula is B5, which is there. Now, this is assuming you typed everything in the same row in the same column as me. If you did not, you got to adjust it. So if you're here is in row 4 or row 6, you got to adjust it. So this would be, for me, it's B5 right there times C5, which is right here. And it calculates it. I got the dollar signs because these were selected, and I went up here and selected currency. That's why I got the dollar signs. If you're in the full version of Excel, it looks very similar to this. It's not much different. We're doing very simple things. So we have mile per gallon, we have earnings, we have GPA that calculate the grade point average. And for sheet 4, I got to rename that. I'm going to name it net worth. Now, if you're in the full version of this here, this will highlight and you type it down here. If you're in the online version, like I am right now, you just double click and a box comes up. You just type in net worth. So these are worksheets down here. The whole thing is called a workbook. And that's it. That's our assignment for the week. It's pretty simple, just basic things you can do in Excel. That's it. I believe for submitting it, if you did the online version, you can click up here where it says share and see where it says copy link. I think you can click copy link and then click copy, and then you can turn that in. Now I'm going to pretend I'm going to open another web window browser you can't see, and I'm going to paste that in and hit return to see what comes up. And it worked. It brought up the document. So that would be an easy way to submit. Click on there, click copy link, click copy again, and you can submit that. So that should be quite easy. If you use the online version, that's great because that's the same one that I just did. Now I'm going to hit stop share. I know that's not real exciting stuff, but they do want us to cover Excel for this class. It is an important software to at least know the basics in. You may have to use it again in other classes and in your future. It's great for making budgets, or if you do, anything you have to do and keep track of data or do some calculations, it works out really nice. And so if you follow me, whether live or look at the recording, you make this one workbook. You can just call it workbook 2 would be fine. And you just make these 4 sheets and follow along and you submit it and you get your points. That's simple. Any questions? We got Sarita still here, Tyler still here, Matt, JD, Aiden, Hanson. Everyone okay? If you got any questions, let me know. You can unmute yourself or put them in the chat. If not, that's it. Thursday, we will have, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Wednesday, but Thursday we'll have our 2:00 Zoom, and I'm going to talk about Generation Lake. So if you've seen it by then, great. And if you haven't, I'll talk about it anyway. And that's all we're doing this week. Not too bad of a week. So take care. Nice to see you. Take care, Aiden and JD and Matt and Hanson and Sarita and Tyler. Yep, take care. I'm going to do the Italian for bye, put ciao, which can also mean hi. And that's it.
Bye, Mr. Rio.
Hi, Sarita. How you doing?